Let me tell you a story about a billionaire who had already made it. He'd reached the top. So why on earth would he decide to bet his entire legacy on one of the riskiest business ideas you can possibly imagine? Today, we're getting into the massive high-stakes gamble behind the Xiaomi car. This is really the core of it, isn't it? You have Lei Jun, the founder of Xiaomi, a global powerhouse. The guy has already won the game. So why would he risk it all to build a car? To really get it, you have to understand just how much he was putting on the line. Now, Lei Jun wasn't making this bet because he was desperate. Nope, he was at the absolute peak of his success, which honestly makes the risk he took even crazier to think about. And make no mistake, his company wasn't in some kind of crisis looking for a lifeline. Xiaomi had just clawed its way back to the top 3 in the global smartphone market. That is a brutal, all-consuming war. The very last thing you'd think they needed was another, even bigger fight. But here's the thing. Lei Jun was not new to electric cars. Not at all. He actually met Elon Musk way back in 2013, bought a Tesla, and even invested in close to a dozen different EV startups. So he clearly saw where the future was headed, but he was really hesitant to build it himself. I mean, investing is one thing, right? Risking your entire company? That's a whole different level. So when Xiaomi's board officially told him to start looking into the idea back in January 2021, it kicked off this intense internal battle for Lei Jun. And this quote from him just says it all, doesn't it? This wasn't just a business calculation for him. It was a 24/7 war going on in his own head, a tug of war between this massive opportunity and just, catastrophic fear. So on one hand, you had the brutal strategic logic of it all. During the day, it was crystal clear. The future wasn't just about phones. It was about this fully connected world. And with rivals like Apple and Huawei already making moves, not building a car felt like a potential death sentence for the company. But then, at night, the terrifying reality of the car industry would set in. It's an absolute graveyard of failed companies that just burns through billions of dollars. And it threatened to derail the very phone business he just fought so hard to save. So you have this perfect stalemate, right? Logic on one side, fear on the other. So what breaks the tie? It wasn't a spreadsheet. It came from something else entirely. The passion of Xiaomi's most loyal fans. It kind of started with these small things, like a fan who built an RV into a smart home filled with Xiaomi gear. But then came the book. A fan literally sent Lei Jun a book filled with every single receipt for every Xiaomi product he'd ever bought over 6 years. And with it was a message that must have just hit him right in the gut. I believe in Xiaomi. If you dare to build a car, I dare to buy it. Wow. That message, and thousands just like it, was the final push he needed. This wasn't just a business decision anymore. It became a personal mission. It stopped being about market share. It became about not letting down the very people who believed in him. And he started to ask himself this really fundamental question. It wasn't, can we build a car? It was, am I brave enough to try? He started to wonder if he still had that same fire, that same fighting spirit that launched Xiaomi from nothing into a global giant in the first place. And on March 30th, 2021, he gave his answer. Even while battling a bad cold, he stood up on that stage and made one of the boldest declarations I've ever heard in business. He was betting it all. His reputation, his legacy, everything he'd ever built. This wasn't just another project. This was his final startup. So what does betting everything actually look like in numbers? Well, it starts right here. 108 billion RMB. That was Xiaomi's cash on hand. As Lei Jun himself put it, what do we have? We have money. We can afford to lose. And they absolutely committed it. A staggering 10 billion US dollars pledged to the project over the next decade. This was not some side experiment. This was an all-out invasion of the auto industry. And it wasn't just cash either. It was people. A team of 3,400 engineers was put together, pulled from the best car brands out there and from inside Xiaomi itself, all focused on one single goal: build that first car. So after 3 years of super intense, super secretive development, the world finally got to see the result of this massive gamble. In March of 2024, the Xiaomi SU7 launched. After all the debate, all the investment, all the doubt, the gamble was finally real and on the road. So how did it go? The response was absolutely explosive. In just 1 month, Xiaomi locked in over 70,000 non-refundable orders. The bet didn't just pay off, it completely blew away all expectations.
But even with this incredible launch, Lei Jun is staying pretty cautious. He knows that in the car business, winning the first battle doesn't mean you've won the war. He calls this a success, sure, but only for the first stage.
Which leaves us with the big final question. The launch was a huge success, no doubt. But the Chinese auto market is an absolute bloodbath of competition. So is a great start really enough to win? I'm curious what you think. Let me know in the comments.